What's up, Facebook Live? It's me, Fallon J, here to talk about how to know when we're operating from an energy space that is serving us or not serving us. So a lot of times we'll hear, if it's not serving you, you just have to let it go. You just have to let it go if it's not serving you. What does that mean, and how do we know something's not serving us versus just not wanting to do the work, right? Or not wanting to do the thing, even though it might serve us, and how to discern the difference. And so this coming Saturday, I am doing a local and a virtual on Sunday BodyLove workshop. The local one is going to be here in Pensacola off of 9 Mile Road. All the details are in the event, but it will be at 6 p.m. to about 8:30. It might go a little shorter depending on how much time we have for exercises and some journaling stuff that I'm going to be giving you. And then my one on Sunday is virtual, and you receive the link within 24 hours of the event after I have received your investment and energy exchange for that. And that's going to be 2 p.m. Central Time to about 4:30 Central Time. So we're going to be incorporating a lot of that in my workshops this weekend of identifying our patterns. And I have shifted to saying patterns versus habits because habits feel really permanent and they don't have to be. But patterns feel like, oh, that can be shifted, right? That can be changed. That can be felt into at a deeper level than a habit because, oh, it's just my habit. That's just how I am. And we can often use habits as excuses for why we operate or why we do the things we do or why we can't do the things we do, like work out, eat healthy, whatever it is, right? We often use those as excuses. So identifying things that serve us is honestly quite simple. Things that serve you feel good. And they feel good in a way that is honoring yourself. So it doesn't feel good in a way like a donut temporarily feels good, or spending too much money on the thing you know that you shouldn't be spending money on feels good, right? Honoring yourself feels good in a very lasting and permanent energy space, and it will continue to feel good. So you always know when you're taking action from a place of alignment, from a place of your higher self that is serving you, when you know that in 3 days, 7, 12, 100 days, it's still going to feel really good. Versus, my little girl just woke up. She's supposed to be napping right now. She's so funny. Sorry. So, that's funny. She usually is napping right now. Maybe she can hear me. So it's very tempting. Thank you for being patient with me while I check on her. So it's very tempting to be like, oh, well, if it feels good, smoking cigarettes might feel good. Well, obviously, and that's a very blatant, obviously, doesn't serve us, right? Because it's not healthy. But we have to be really honest. And when we operate from a place of serving, of what serves us and serves our energy and the vision that we truly have for ourselves, we have to also bring in discipline. Because a lot of times that which serves us might feel hard for a little bit because it's going to take some different action from a different energy space. And so it might, and oftentimes takes discipline to implement over and over and over again. So it becomes habitual. So it becomes your new pattern, right? We cannot create new patterns without shifting out of the old ones. And when we shift out of an old one, we have to take new action, because when we don't take new action, we just revert back to the way that we used to be. And that's with everything we do. That's with the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we interact with people. That's why in relationships, so many couples have the same problems occurring over and over and over, because neither one of them are looking at what needs to shift within themselves, not their partner, within themselves, and then making the shift, right? It's really easy to be like, oh, well, I do this or they do that, and then just staying in that cycle versus let me be really aware and discern when I'm operating from that, when I am doing that, so I can not choose that anymore. So I can choose a new pattern and then choose it again over and over and over and over. So that becomes my subconscious. That becomes my new pattern, not the way that I used to be. And so things that are not serving us, excuse me, didn't mean to earthquake the thing, are things that are, like I said, temporarily feel good. And so in 3, 12, 100 days, they're not going to feel good. And you're going to be feeling a little bit or a lot of regret. You're going to feel shame and guilt for making that decision, for taking that action, for reacting that way. That's when you know it's not serving you, is it's temporary feel good. And that, again, when it comes to our health and our body, that is our eating and how we're nourishing our bodies and how we're showing up for ourselves. Are we moving our bodies with intention? Are we not moving at all? When we're not serving ourselves and serving our energy space, it feels really heavy, and it feels like you're having to drag your feet. And sometimes that is even to a birthday party, right? It could be somebody that you love and it's their birthday party, but you just do not feel like going. And so in order to be in a place of integrity with yourself and in serving yourself, you know with every part of you, you want to say no because you really need a night in to just fill your cup. But instead, you people please and you accommodate and you do what everybody else wants you to do. And that is operating from a space of not serving yourself because you're not honoring your true needs. And anybody that truly loves you will honor your needs as well. Hi, Rena. Oh, how funny. Of course, right? That's the synchronicity of it all. Like, we always receive the message when we most need it. And so I'm not spying on you, Rena. I just kind of come up with a topic off the top of my head and then I just channel. And so I don't ever have notes when I go live. I just speak what comes through. And that's what I actually really love about doing Facebook Lives, is oftentimes I don't even know what I'm going to say. And then it comes through and then Rena, somebody like you, hops on and was like, how did you know I was feeling that? I'm like, I didn't, but the universe knew, God knows, our angels know, right? And so we have to be really wary of, and not even wary, maybe that's not the right word, but just really aware. We have to be really aware of what energy space we're operating from, because like the people pleasing can be like, well, that's serving me because that's making sure everybody else around me is happy. But if you're not happy, it is not serving you, and it's actually not serving the whole. And so people pleasing is a really, really great way to mask a lot of underlying stuff, and it's not energetically in alignment with your higher self, and it's very draining. It's very draining. And so it doesn't serve you. And that's how you start to discern the energy. It feels heavy. So if you're operating from a space that feels really heavy and it feels like, oh God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I feel like I have to do this and I don't want to. And you do it anyways, it's going to compound that heaviness. But when you're able to start to shift to, I don't want to do this. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good to me. And you share that, and you don't even have to give a reason, right? Like, something as simple as I canceled a facial on Monday because I just didn't feel well. I wasn't sick. I just didn't feel energetically like showing up for it. So I just said, hey, I'm not going to be able to make my appointment this morning. I am sorry. I will reschedule, without feeling the need of having to give the person a reason for being in alignment with that which you know you need and operating from the energy space with that which you know you need. And I know that it's not always easy, right? So if you're working a 9-to-5 that you hate, because you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go. And you have to go. That feels really out of alignment and really heavy. So some ways that you can shift is, okay, I really like so-and-so at work. And so I'm going to focus on that I get to talk with them today. So where can we focus on what we do like? Because life does bring us a lot of instances of feeling heavy and feeling in an energy space that isn't serving us. And sometimes it's what we have to actually do, right? In this moment, because we haven't yet created the life of not feeling like we have to do, right? So I'm very fortunate because it's not very often that I feel like I have to do anything. I really truly get to do a lot of my life, but it's been a journey. It didn't happen overnight. This is something that I've really worked for. So in the meantime, if you are in a space that you're like, I don't have that choice, Fallon. I don't have the choice to operate from a place that's serving me, or a place that feels light. I feel like I have to operate from a place that feels really heavy. Then that's when you get to tune in and say, okay, what about this can I focus on that I do like? What about this feels light? And then you focus on that until it expands. And in the meantime, you get to choose your life. And does that mean that this is the job you're going to stay at? Or does that mean that you're going to open yourself up to possibilities of other opportunities? This is your life and you get to create it, right? There's no victims here. So if we're operating from a space of this is happening to me, I can't believe this happened to me, that is not serving you. And trust me, it's really interesting. I've had a really interesting childhood in so much good, right? And so much chaos all at the same time. And I've actually had to really revisit it back when I went to Sedona. I really had to revisit some inner child stuff. And then again, I went to a therapy appointment and had to really revisit it. And I said, oh my God, I really forgot that all this stuff happened, right? Because I'd really moved through so much of it and healed so much of it. But what it reminded me was it's when I shifted out of the victim. It's when I shifted out of all of this stuff happened to me and shifted into, okay, why did this happen for me? And maybe I don't even have a reason, but maybe I can just operate in the faith that it all did happen for a reason. And then I'm operating from an energy space that's serving me. And then your life begins to shift. So I'm not in a position in my life that I get to make my own schedule. I get to work with my dream clients. I get to do all these things because it just happened. I did it because I shifted my focus of one foot in front of the other. And every day I found what I wanted to focus on that was good and that felt genuinely good. And while everything around me might have felt bad, and I felt like I was being judged, or I felt not worthy enough, or I felt not being seen, I felt hurt, I felt not being taken care of, I kept my focus on the one or two things that felt really freaking good. And I'm telling you, you can do it because I've done it. And I don't share a lot about my personal life on Facebook because I really have moved through a lot of it. And what I will be doing down the road is creating a private Facebook group where I will be opening up a little bit more about kind of my journey and things that I've experienced, so that you know that there's a lot that you can go through and a lot that you can experience, and you can come out the other side in a really beautiful way. But it's not until you shift out of the victim. It's not until we shift from a space that isn't serving us to what is serving us. And it can be as simple, you guys, as not eating the donut and showing up for your workout. Because one is serving you and one isn't serving you. But one temporarily feels good, right? The donut feels temporarily good. The workout doesn't feel really good right now, but it will continue to feel good. And that's when you know you're serving yourself. And that's when you know you're operating in alignment with your higher self. And if you do not do that and you do not choose that, then you're going to continue to recreate the patterns and recreate the life that you have. And if that's the life you want, then don't change anything. But if there's things in your life that you do want, and then you want to change and you want to feel better and you want to feel more joy, I'm telling you, it is possible. I wake up more days feeling genuinely happy and genuinely in joy than I do feeling like heavy and like, oh gosh, why isn't this happening for me yet? Why isn't this? It's like, oh my God, there's so much happening. I'm so excited for the future. And I genuinely feel that way. I didn't always. So focus on your desires too. Let's focus on what do you desire? How's it going to feel when you get that? Right? And that is like kind of some law of attraction basics, but law of attraction and the secret and stuff, it's surface level, right? So if we don't do the soul work and we don't do the healing and we don't get deep into knowing ourselves and being really, and I say brutally honest, and I don't really love the word brutal, but that's what it feels like, being brutally honest with, oh my God, I am like that. I was having a call with a client today, and we were talking about kind of how she used to be the mean girl. And it wasn't until we started to work together that she was able to look back and see, oh my God, that's why I don't like that girl, is because that's who I used to be. But man, that takes some brutal self-honesty, and that's self-love. That is self-love, when you can look at yourself and be really honest of like, oh my God, I was like that, or I am like that, and I don't want to be because that doesn't feel good anymore. And then you can start to shift it, right? Everything's okay. Who you are right now is absolutely okay, but does it feel good every day? And if it doesn't, then let's start shifting it. There's no judgment, right? That was another thing she shared with me today. I said, what is one of the biggest things you took away from this course? We've been working together for 4 months. This was our last call. And she said, Fallon, I do not judge as much as I used to. She said, in fact, I almost barely judge at all. And I observe everyone in their life with a lot more compassion. Oh my God. She got that from working together in 4 months. So you know why she doesn't judge people as much? Is because she stopped judging herself. The reason she's able to observe others with compassion is because she began to observe herself with compassion. And so while you're doing this work, whether you're working on loving your body, whether you're working on loving yourself, whether you're working on the energy spaces that aren't serving you and you're shifting out of those, it's when you invite in the compassion and forgiveness that you can then shift and change, and it naturally extends to everyone around you. But not until you give it to yourself. And I was telling her, I said, isn't it interesting that we think, even as we become mothers, like, oh, I can do this for my kid. I'm going to do this for my kid. Like, I'm going to make the shift. And I said, but not even drug addicts stop doing drugs for their kids. Not even drug addicts. And that is a huge, huge thing that you would think, like, oh, they'll stop drinking and doing drugs because they had kids. That's not true. You never make the change until you decide to make it for yourself. And so I'm inviting you now to look at, are you doing what feels good for the long term? Or are you doing what feels good temporarily, just to continue the temporary relief to get to the next day, to get to the next moment? Or are you going to be disciplined enough to choose what's going to serve you in the long run, what's going to feel good in the long run? And you deserve that. You deserve it, and you have support. And there are people all around you that will support you if you begin to show up and say, this is how I want to be, and this is how I'm going to show up. And if you don't want to support that, that's okay. That's okay, but that's who I'm going to be. And so maybe some people might end up exiting your life temporarily or forever, but that's okay too, because you will, in 3, 12, 60 days, 1 year, feel so good about who you are because you're operating from the energy space that's serving you. You will then be able to serve others even more. You will show up, you'll be able to give more, love more, all of it. And so it starts here first, and it starts with your heart center first, and asking yourself those questions. So if this resonated with you, please feel free to comment, tag, share, all the things, all the good Facebook, social media gifts we give each other. And feel free to share with me in the comments, or you can DM me. I get a lot of direct messages this way of, Fallon, I'm operating this way and it doesn't feel good, but I don't know how to shift out of it. I can guide you through that a little bit. I can give you some tips. I can, I've been through it. I know that it's a struggle. And the thing is, I still go through it. I'm still on this journey too. There's no perfection is a fallacy. And to ever stop and say, okay, man, I've really nailed this. Like, I got this down. I would be lying to you. So it's a journey. And that's why I call it a practice. Spiritual practice, meditation practice, self-love practice, healthy habits practice, right? It's all practice because it's a continued effort. It's a continuing showing up for yourself and loving yourself. And a lot of us say that we love ourselves. I say, yeah, I love myself. But are you actually showing up for yourself and giving yourself the permission to give to yourself, to give yourself time, to have a break, to work out, to eat healthy, and from a place of not punishing? And that's a whole other live that I'll do soon, is, are you taking action out of punishment or out of commitment? So I will leave you with that. I love you guys. I see you. I honor you. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.